On the 3rd of April 1998, an underground methane explosion occurred during the final sealing of H124's district at Prince of Wales Colliery. 76 workmen underground at the time of the explosion were evacuated to a place of safety wearing their MSA 290 filter self-rescuers. What you are about to see is 4 of the workmen's experiences whilst wearing their filter self-rescuers in high levels of carbon monoxide.
I was working on 124's loader gate. We were probably about 60 metres in. And we'd just been moved actually from to tailgate where main explosion or main blast was. We were told to go around by deputy to other gate and to basically wait for further instructions because he found a bit of gas that were above regulated levels.
I was on 30's face line doing a fan move up with the heading men and me guard, and Pete Nelson, the deputy, was there at the time. We heard it over the tannoy at first to get his rescuers on. Pete Nelson then telephoned the control to make sure everything, you know, what we heard were right, and then everybody just got the rescuers on.
As you know, 26 is command supervisor, base command supervisor, and that's the next district, adjacent district. At the time, the job was stood, we was not coiling, and me and my workforce, we were out by gondolas in the loader gate, shortening the ranges, water and oil, etc. When from further down the gate, there appeared to be a small explosion, a noise, and then next thing there was a cloud of dust come up. So I said to the lads, I'm going to the phone and find out what's gone off.
Right, I was command supervisor in 30's tailgate when the incident happened. I was actually on the phone to the control at the time. When the overman in the control, he told me, hang on, there's been an incident, the emergency switchboard had all lit up. So I waited to see what was happening, and he went away, came back, told me there's been an explosion on 24s. We must make us way out of the mine via the escape route, which he told us, and we must fit as self-rescuers.
Anyway, so we were quite relaxed because we were sitting and having a bite of snap. Not expecting anything at all to happen, just talking in general. We had this big bang and followed up by a rush of air. And from split second that happened, you just couldn't see anything at all. It was just total darkness. You know, it's hard to explain how it would be so quick. When you sat in a classroom trying to rescue thing, you know, thinking, oh, I'll put my rescuer on, no problem. It didn't like that at all. It was just, you know, you can't breathe, you can't see. You don't want to be left on your own. That is one thing. I mean, you've got all your mates with you. Everybody's moving, but you don't know where they are. You're frightened, which I was.
I had no bother. I pulled me rescuer to the side. I was out on one side, and he came straight out of the canister. I had a lot of difficulty with the head straps. In the end, I had to actually hold the rescuer with my own hand.
Once we'd had it confirmed that it was a self-rescuer, that we'd put self-rescuers on, I decided to put mine on. I pulled it down to the side, pulled it off. The only problem I had with the self-rescuer actually were the head straps. They were slack on my head. I didn't really have time to adjust them as such. The other little problem I had to chow a back in at the time of putting it on. So I had to spit that out, so obviously all the way out like with my saliva, it was mixed in with tobacco juice, which I ended up swallowing, which can be a bit uncomfortable.
Anyway, we decided that what we'd do, we'd walk so far until we encountered the smoke, which it would come up the bagging, so we'd see it coming out of the bagging. So that brought us about, I'd say about 900 metres, maybe 10 minutes, quarter of an hour at the start, before we wore it. As soon as we saw smoke coming out of the bagging, we could see it, we could smell it. So we took his rescuers out and then immediately fitted them.
I knew it were on my left-hand side because I always put it at that side. I had my battery one side, my rescue at the other side. So I knew it was there. But feeling for it and getting it in total darkness is completely different to in classroom. Now you've got to fumble around and you finally click it off, and you're actually trying to pull it from one side. Not all the time, they say in classroom, slide it round to the front. You can't do that all the time, depending on the size of your belt or anything. It doesn't come round. Now it's a little bit more difficult than you'd think it'd be.
The route we walked off, the visibility was very good. I wouldn't like to a bad experience wearing the rescuer, and I would think it'd hamper you more if the visibility was poor with, smoke in the air, but you've been told to put your rescuer on because you don't know what gases are in the atmosphere, and you leave the rescuer on until you're told to take it off.
Now initially, when I first tried getting the rescuer out of the canister, it wouldn't come out of the canister. So I tried pulling it a couple of times, it wouldn't come out, and I remembered that it were okay to wear it with the canister still attached. So this I did, but the actual headband, the straps, they were too big, I couldn't adjust them. But there again, it didn't pose a problem as such, because I'd still got the canister on, so I'd actually holding it with the palm of my hand and actually carrying it as I were walking.
Once that had been confirmed with lads and I got my mask on, we set off route first. Lads went first and I went back manner because I wanted to make sure that everybody were on the way. We got through phase and we set off down at tailgate then. At first we set off in a nice pace and we were all together. Then I noticed it started getting a little bit quicker and I'd dashed at front, got in front of them and slowed pace down and got us all together. The mask started to become hot, and that's why I slowed pace down, because the faster you walked, it seemed you were more breathing, and it started with a burning sensation in your throat, and obviously your mouth's thirsty and all that. You're very tempted to take your mask off to spit and all that, and you've got to use a bit of self-control.
After I actually got my rescuer on, I found that it was easier to breathe in my case because it was so dusty before. When I put rescuer on, filter obviously inside allowed me to breathe better.
Now, because it were in the canister, this made it difficult to breathe. It made it. I were all right. I were okay breathing out, but when I were trying to inhale, it was like somebody had got me in a bear hug from behind. I couldn't suck my air in. I was struggling to get the air.
The wearing of the rescuer is a very bad experience in my mind. It's very hot, but it's also very gritty at the back of the throat. You've that much saliva in your mouth, you want to take your rescuer off, but you can't.
I made my way to ringside, which I knew that was going to naturally take me round into intake side. Because visibility were virtually nil, we generally stuck together. We were more or less holding each other's belts, one in front, slowly going off gate end. It's always a little easier if there's somebody else with you. You feel like it's a bit better if you're in a crisis with somebody as opposed to being on your own.
I myself, I was pumped up full of adrenaline because we didn't actually know what we were going to walk into as we were walking out. We didn't know how long we'd be wearing them, what we'd see, what we'd experience on the way out. It was a bit nerve-wracking. Like I said, there was no panic, but we were pumped up full of adrenaline.
Although we all walked off the gate in an orderly manner, there was always something in your head, a nervous that you didn't know what was around the corner. It's just, I don't know, you know this isn't a drill, it is the real thing. You just didn't know what was coming around the corner. It could have been anything.
I waited a few minutes to put it on. If there had been a lot of carbon monoxide, I might not have been here now. It's so important to put that rescuer on straight away, not wait a few minutes and look round and think what's happening. Is really put it on straight away. I mean, I'm lucky that there wasn't much carbon monoxide. If there had been, I probably wouldn't have been here now telling you to tell.
In all, we travelled nearly 4,000 metres, which took approximately 1 hour to walk, which is a very long time to where the rescuer is very uncomfortable. But you know, in the end, that thing could save your life.
So I travelled with a total of 2,700 metres. I wouldn't like to wear it any longer. I was glad when I got the signal that it was safe to take the mask off. I wouldn't like to wear it any longer than 40 minutes. But if I'd have had to wear it longer, obviously I would have done. Because all the time, in the back of your mind, you've got to be thinking, this self-rescue is probably saving your life.
At the end of the day, it's not comfortable and it's not a nice experience. But as I say, it did its job, and I'm still here talking to you about my experiences wearing it. So the rescuer has done its job, it saved my life.
The MSA 290 filter self-rescuer has been in service for around 10 years. It is shortly to be replaced with the W95 filter self-rescuer. Physically they look the same, both inside and out, the only change to the exterior being that the opening lever is a little shorter in length. The rescuer, when removed from its canister, is basically the same, except that the head harness has now been changed for an elasticated type, which should ease the fitting. The nose clip has a sprung type metal attachment which causes the nose clip to stand out once released and act as a reminder that it has to be fitted. While the rescuer looks the same physically, the operation is completely different. The inhaled air is first passed through a dust filter, then through a small amount of hopcalite, followed by a precious metal catalyst which converts the carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide. The main benefits of the W95 over the MSA 290 are as follows. The breathing resistance is reduced. The inhaled temperature can be reduced by around 10 degrees C and will last for up to 4 hours while in use. These benefits should make the rescuer much more comfortable to use.